Welcome back to Ferocious Education. This is Ed. Today I'm going to be talking about TLRY, Tilray Incorporations. I'm going to briefly go through technical analysis to give you a perspective on the psychology of traders, and then I'm going to move on towards the due diligence part where I dive into the presentations, anything I could find, legislations, etc. This video will be worth your while, so make sure to drop a like to this video to help the channel grow, subscribe and leave notifications on. Jump right into it. So on the 1 week perspective, what we get to see here is that it looks a bit bearish. 30 EMA, the red line is above the 10 SMA, below the 50 SMA, so that is altogether coming in as bearish. Now, ADX shows in a sloppy movement, willing percent R is somewhere around neutral, MACD is a bit stable, and momentum is actually looking a lot better than it was all the way back in May, but still hovering around the 258. Still positive, so positive is positive, and it's been positive since the 1st of November. Now, on a 1 day perspective, we get to see here is something a little bit different. It's completely bullish on all factors on a 1 day perspective. And you remember, 1 week was bearish, 1 day is bullish. So we're going to be looking into more of a 1 day perspective. What happened? Almost the first time in a while, it's trading above the 200 SMA line, the one in blue. What we see right now is the purple line is increasing while the blue line is decreasing. What that says is the 50 SMA is increasing, the 200 SMA is decreasing. That is bullish. 10 SMA is above 30 EMA, all bullish all around, signaling, hey, there might be another push for this one. Keep an eye on this one. ADX shows in a potential of a trend forming. See, this is exactly what I told you. There is a potential. William percent R is at overbought. Sometimes you get a little bit of a pullback during the day or even a pullback like a small red candle. So that is expected from the million percent R perspective. The next thing is the MACD. It's actually curving up. It's telling you, hey, there is a chance for it to as well jump again. So far, 1, 2, 3 of potential. 1 saying a pullback. Momentum says potential. 4 potentials. Now, we can take a look into a 2-hour perspective. This is if you're trading intraday. We get to see is a massive green candle that jumped in along the day. That is quite bullish. Now, taking a quick look, it does show in a lot of potential, and we need to look into, hey, was there news? That's what we're going to do after the technical analysis. Now, the moving average band is trading at 826 on the top, 751 in the middle, and 676 in the bottom. It's expected for a stock to trade within there, but a lot of the time it doesn't work that way. Stochastic fast and stochastic slow are telling you, hey, this might be a time to buy and ride a little bit of a jump. They're both telling you that. So they're signaling in more of a buy signal rather than anything. I wanted to do Fibonacci retracements, but the chart looks quite ugly from $300 all the way to $850. But what I'm still going to do is I'm going to do it from the start of the year at 2109, drop it to 243. And so the Fibonacci retracement support sits at 680, and you can get to see it works well. The resistance 954, 1176, 1398, and 1713. Now, significant supports and resistances we get to see here is right off the bat, 749 is a significant support. Below there, we're looking at 664. Below there, we're looking at 618. There, we're looking all the way down to 460, from 460 to 439. Significant resistances, we're actually knocking right on the door for that. 857 is your resistance. Above there, we're looking at 925. Above there, we're looking at 950, from 950 to 1112. From 1112, we go a little bit higher to 1296. From 1296, go to 1536 to 1591. Above there, really getting closer to the $20 mark. Now, comes to the part where I like the most is SEC filings. So let's jump right into that. So the first thing we want to look at is institutional buyers. You get to see passive investment here, around 6.2 million shares added on here. Around a month ago, 13.7 from Kennedy Brendan. You get to see in 2020, we had 3 massive passive investments. Now, institutional buyers themselves, it's been a little bit mixed. You have ETF funds that have added shares, but you have groups like Jefferies that completely moved all their shares that they have for their stock. Like Catalyst Private, well, it shows 45 shares. I'm not sure the accuracy. Overall, it's a little bit mixed because you have ones that are increasing, some that are decreasing. J. Goldman Co., 100% off. Captain, doesn't show, but look at this one here, 344,000 shares up, added. So it's a little bit mixed. Doesn't tell us much other than, hey, there's a little bit of, perhaps, a little bit of speculation about this one. Kennedy Brendan, this is actually institutional buyer, so 13G filings. Sorry, the president and the CEO, Brendan Brendan. He did buy a bunch of stocks, if you remember, for 13G. It actually goes all the way up here where it has 13.7. He bought them on the 16th of October. Right now in November, he did sell some of the shares. He still has quite a lot of them. He didn't sell them all, but you know, sometimes it's wondering, like, why is he selling? And it looks like he's actually been selling forever. It's completely normal. He buys and he sells. So nothing speculation there that he's jumping ship. Exercises his shares, he sells it. It's his right. Next thing is the notes that they're selling November 24th. That's already closed on November 24th. $124.3 million in notes. Now, 10Q. Let's take a quick look in terms of their assets from a year-to-year perspective. So from September 30th to December 31st, 2019, this is US thousands dollars. So total assets, or the current assets, we're looking at 155 million compared to 96.7 million. Total assets has decreased 887 million from 896 million. The biggest comparison here that I would like to point out is probably the intangible assets net has decreased. We're looking at, well, equity method investment decrease, and that kind of gives a little bit of perspective into where your total assets have gone. Almost very much comparable, so I'm going to give them that. Your total liabilities, though, has increased. Is there anything that I see basically standing out? Yes. Your warrant liability, 71 million. You didn't have that last year, quarter, roughly around the same time. Senior facility and net off transactions cost, there as well, you have an increase as well this year. Overall, $100 million difference. And what we look at is in terms of their net part. Before doing that, we'll need to look in terms of revenue. Revenue is basically almost the same. Gross profit, though, has increased quite substantially because of inventory valuation adjustments. The operating loss is quite more, 32.7 million compared to 20 million. Net loss, here is where things get interesting. Because of your net loss being a lot less, it does look good on paper. But why was it less? Now, we have the same operating loss, but look at the loss before income tax. The reason is that change in fair value of warranty liability has fixed that substantially. And so what we need to look at here, in a sense, is that yes, they had 2.3 million in terms of a loss compared to 36.3 million. Is that a long-term thing that is coming? Only time will tell, but I really think that they need to work on some of their finances, and I believe, hey, they might actually looking at that right now. I no CFO that is half as good as, well, the average wouldn't look at the balance sheet and say, hey, you know, we need to fix some things. And I think that's exactly what they're doing. Net loss here, we're looking at a 2.3 million, as I said, compared to 36.3 million. And so your total comprehensive income is actually 142,000 compared to 41 million. So that is substantial. The third quarter results, and this is where things get a lot interesting because we're getting context. Your total revenue of 51.4 million was flat versus quarter 3 2019 and up to 2.0% compared to quarter 2 2020. So not a lot of changes in terms of total revenue. Excluding bulk sales in prior year period, total revenue increased 25%. Total annualized saving of approximately $55 million is to be achieved by this next quarter. See, this is exactly what I was telling you. And they need to kind of change the balance sheet, and this is exactly what they were going for. They're saying, hey, we're going to save in terms of costs around $55 million, and that is amazing. It's substantial. Net loss of $2.3 million versus net loss of $36.4 million in quarter 3 2019 and $81.7 million in quarter 2 2020. That's all losses. So your adjusted EBITDA lost near to 1.5 million compared to 12.3 million in quarter 2 2020. Quarter 3 ended cash balance with 155.2 million with 209 million compared to remaining value available on ATM. So this is basically an offering at the market value. But it looks overall that they're going in the right direction, and I'm satisfied by their explanations. They do have more highlights and etc. And they go on with adult use versus cannabis medical. What we get to see is there is a lot more use in terms of their total cannabis revenue versus hemp. So that is something. It's almost very comparable between adult use and hemp. Let's move on. Now, their pure extract technology score commenced trading on PULL. It was halted a while ago, but it's now also on the Canadian exchange market. So this is their website, Tilray. It's in the description below, www.tilray.com, and it's basically announcing themselves as a global leader. They have some of the things they're trying to catch your eyes with: experience, precision, research, and care. And if you keep scrolling down, something interesting here is their global research market all across the world, especially with operations in the US, including Manitoba harvest facilities in the US, or as well, I believe, in South America, right around here. No, that's Manitoba Harvest Products. In as well in Mexico, in Canada, and also around the Europe and South Africa as well. So it's all around the place. And you might think, well, how are they doing this if it's not legal? And I'll explain that in a second. Corporate profile, events and news. Events, nothing significant coming up. I mean, I don't see anything on their calendar themselves. There is Catalyst coming up nonetheless. Press releases on November 24th, as I did say, additional $72.9 million, 5% convertible notes. And we're gonna move on now towards their company news. I don't like how they don't update it as often, but hey, at least they're busy. In terms of products, when I went on and clicked products, they said, hey, we couldn't find the page you were looking for. So that is weird. Someone needs to look into that with them, but I'll leave it to them. Third quarter earnings. Usually nice to have a PDF file here to click on and check, but hey, fine, we pulled it from the SEC filings. Events and presentation. Thankfully, I was able to get my hands on a presentation. A lot of companies hide these things and it's annoying. So they're a global pioneer in $150 billion plus market. We were the first cannabis company to achieve GMP certification in Canada, legally export cannabis from North America to Africa, Australia, Europe, and Latin America, receive cultivation license from multiple countries, supply products to federally approved clinical trials in Australia, Canada, and the United States, complete an IPO on a major US stock exchange. Now, their mission is to improve patients and consumer lives through the power of cannabis and hemp. Before going on through this video, what I did was I actually sat down and watched a lot of the videos available for this one with the CEO. A lot of the things they were saying is that basically they have two kind of product lines: recreational use and medical use, in terms of even hemp products as well. And it wasn't a basic definitive of, okay, we're 50% here. It's a little bit more of a parallel line, and I like that. Political research includes New York University, McGill, University of Cindy, US San Diego, SickKids, Columbia University Medical Center, and the University of British Columbia, with strategic partners in INBEV and Sandoz. I showed you already this map that really shows in their cannabis and hemp distribution footprint. In cannabis, 15 countries. In hemp, 20 countries. Hemp regulations are different than cannabis regulations in some countries. And basically, their total parcel sizes are around 16.7 million square foot. Their phase 1 development is around 3.5 square foot. And their max development is around 14 million square foot. And it really goes on to three parts: Tilray, High Park, and Manitoba Harvest. Hemp foods. So this is more of the hemp food stuff. And they have farms in Canada, Portugal, in Ontario, London as well. So that's as well Canada again. This one was in British Columbia, and Winnipeg, and well, another one in Winnipeg. So it's basically, this is funny. Okay, so it's in Winnipeg, Leamington, Ontario, and this is Saint Agatha in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Sometimes things have the same place. And times the same name, my bad. Total production space is around 2.7 million square feet for this one, and it outgrows around 2.4 million square feet. It's tariff-free access to the EU. It has a capacity manufacturing of 3 to 4 times the current cultivation output, fully GMP certified, strategic alliance with agricultural leader Sparrow. That's in Portugal, by the way, so it's an EU. Export finished goods and imports raw materials from other countries. So it avoids itself in tariffs. And what I like about this one is it's putting itself in each country to avoid taxes and tariffs. A little bit sneaky, but that's the way to do business. Now, next thing we're going to go for is some of their adult use and proven track record. Subsequently increased Canadian adult use revenue quarterly through 2019 to Q1 2020, coast-to-coast distribution in Canada, national and regional specialty brands, minority investments in 4 retailers, partnered with third-party sales force Kindred. Processing capacity exceeds cultivation capacity, consists with long-term vision of supply and demand dynamics, introduced new forms or new form factors including edibles, vapes, and CBD-infused tea. I haven't seen CBD-infused tea before, but that's interesting. Pretty sure that really hits home with the British market. Fluent launched CBD-infused beverages into the market. Brands. Some of the brands here, I don't recognize them as much, mainly because I shop online and I'm busy all day working. But retail partners, Westleaf is here, Spirit Leaf, Fire and Flowers, and Kiero. Some of the beverages they have partners with INBEV, Fluent, and Every. Some of the next legal markets are these ones here: Mexico, Portugal, etc. Introduce additional new form factors, launching additional brands, launching additional Fluent CBD offerings, continuing research on THC beverages, and expecting 3 to 4 additional countries to legalize by the end of 2020. I have more information about that in a minute. Now, the medical proven track record, they have products available in 15 countries and 5 continents. 12 pharmaceutical distributor relationships, including global agreements with Sandoz, 10 clinical trials, and GPM certified. And some of the names are Shoppers and Drug Mart, Noeda, Sandoz, Basel, plus Lori, Onyx, Alliance Healthcare, etc. Some of the next legal markets they're looking at is France, the US, Spain, Switzerland, and Japan. Hemp and CBD proven track records, they have around 100 plus SKUs, 30,000+ acres of hemp under contract, 17,000 stores in North America, distribution in 20 countries. D. Launched in Manitoba Harvest CBD products in the US, launched Poland CBD brands and products in the US and UK, and achieved Grass Manitoba Harvest. Alright, what we need to look at quickly is their growth. So I'm a bit more understanding here in terms of their growth, and you get to see massive jumps here from 195 to 126%. It does look good all in all. I need to look more into 2020 results, that chart to be updated. I don't think there's anything I need to look at here. I think this satisfies basically a good overview in terms of the company. Next thing here is the Congress bill, the Congress bill. Right now it's going to the House. It's the MORE Act of 2019, and what it stands for is the Marijuana Opportunity Reinvestment and Expungement Act of 2019. Now they're set to vote on it sometime next week, either on the session of December 1 to 4 or December 7 to 10. So that is not yet basically outlined. But look at who the sponsor is. It's the Vice President-elect Senator Harris Kamala, back when she was a senator. So that is something to consider, because guess who's coming in office? I know some people are typing here, well, yeah, there's the revotes and everything, but I'm just going to go on with the line for what the GSA has signed on, and saying that they are the president and the vice president-elect. So I'm Canadian, so I really don't care as much. I'm just trying to do my job here. The bill also makes other changes, including the following. Replaces statutory references to marijuana and marijuana with cannabis. Requires the Bureau of Labor Statistics to regulatorily publish demographic data on cannabis business owners. Let me zoom this even further. There we go. Establishes a trust fund to support various programs and services, individuals, and businesses in communities impacted by the war on drugs. Impose a 5% tax on cannabis products and require revenue to be deposited into a trust fund. Make small businesses administration loans and service available to entities of cannabis-related legitimate businesses or service providers. Prohibits and denial of... Okay, so basically, these two are the ones really going to be affecting it, with more funding, etc., towards private companies that are legal for cannabis, or even public companies that are legal in cannabis. At the same time, it legalizes it and it allows sales for it. So that is quite substantial. This says basically the same information. Found another article in the Washington Times. So this kind of gives you a bit of a perspective, a little bit of a longer one that I like, but hey. What is next? Okay, so what we get to see is, hey, it was quite bullish in a lot of factors with a little bit of a hint of a warning. I'm satisfied that this one will probably see some jumps here and there sometime along the year. It is a US incorporated business already. It's a Canadian company in the US as an incorporation. So it's not a Canadian company that has its ticker located in the has the ticker available on the New York Exchange Time or NASDAQ, but it's an actually Canadian company incorporated in the US. So this makes it in a better position than some things like ACB and SNDL to take advantage of that. Sure, the price action had a massive hype before, but you know what? I'm going to ignore that and I'm going to say, hey, it's a new horizon, things are happening in this one, it looks really bullish from this perspective, and I'm going to be cautiously moving forward and maybe swinging this one. What do you think about this sticker? Make sure to mention down in the comments below. If you have stayed this long in this video and haven't bored you out or put you to sleep, there's in the description below a Discord link that is very exclusive right now and it's about to be capped up. So make sure you join that Discord. Have a wonderful day.